CIL 650 presents It's Your Money, an up-close and personal look at your finances. Here's your host, Fritz Snyder.
Up in the morning and out to school. The teacher is teaching the golden rule.
Okay, we're back. Live
American history
and
back to
interactive.
man.
Remind you once again, ladies and gentlemen, we take your calls. We want to share this program with you, our listening audience. We want you and we expect you to call, and we reward you for so doing. People to call the show today. As usual, I'm giving away Napoleon Hill's fantastic, fabulous, extraordinary workbook. This workbook will guide you to success. Success meaning the achievement of what you want in life, whatever it is. It might be money, it might be health, it might be spiritual, it might be physical, it might be social life. Doesn't matter what your goals are. The secret to achieving those goals is to get it down in writing and get yourself a plan. When we talk about the money side of life, we say that there's 3 P's. The first P stands for plan, the second P stands for planning, and the third P stands for having the right products inside your financial plan. So sit back, get yourself a pad of paper, a pencil, make notes, and write things down. Let's start with the numbers. The number to call is area code 604-280-0650. You're calling long distance, it's 1-877-280-0650. If you want to log on and see what we look like, it's www.CIL650.com. And for the shy people, those who are reluctant to talk on the air for any reason whatsoever, you can call Frida. Frida's down at the office at area code 604-737-3512. Long distance, 800-661-1495. It might just be that you're worried about your investments and what the market is doing these days. You want to make a second opinion for a second opinion, or a phone call at least to make an appointment for a second opinion. You might want to do that. Call Frida. Make that appointment. Come in. Even if you're a client, if you're thinking of becoming a client, you're worried about your portfolio, you want to get an x-ray made of that portfolio, an MRI, whatever you want to call it, an in-depth analysis. Find out if the risk is too great, if the return is satisfactory, the expected return that you're getting, if it's on track, what return do you need to achieve your financial goals? Are you on track to achieve those goals? Any of that and much, much more comes out of an appointment and a sit-down review of your overall financial situation. I don't think many people would ignore the doctor for all of their life. It's a good idea to get an annual physical checkup. When it comes to your money, it's the same thing. When it comes to any of your financial goals, it's the same thing. And you can't achieve anything if you don't have a goal. God, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I keep talking about goals, goals, goals. You know why? Because it's true. How can you get there if you don't know where you want to go? You have to sit down and make crystal clear, well-defined goals. I learned a long time ago that the 5 steps, secrets in achieving anything is to visualize, be able to visualize the things that you want to achieve. Crystallize your thinking. You want a nicer house? Be able to see that house, be able to visualize it. You want a house on the water? Be able to visualize the house, the exact house you want. Cut a picture of it out of a magazine, Better Homes and Gardens or whatever. You want to have a 6-pack abdomen? Get a picture of yourself in jockey shorts. Put it on the mirror when you're shaving every day. Look at it. Be able to visualize yourself having already achieved your goals. God, it's so fundamental, it's unbelievable. But most people don't do it. And I have the opportunity to speak to 4 or 5 people every single day. I see their financial profiles. I talk to them about the way they think. And I say, well, what are your goals? They look at me kind of blank. I don't know. Well, isn't that where the whole process starts? Napoleon Hill says that you have to have a burning desire to achieve your objectives. How can you ever have a burning desire if you have a fuzzy notion of what you want to achieve? If you know, Do you want to be a millionaire? Do you want to be a billionaire? How much money does it take to be rich? What is rich? Is rich social acceptance into the most exclusive club in town? Is that a measurement of it? I don't think so. Is being able to look at your bank account and see how much you have on deposit and it's a lot? That might be one way. But if you can't see it, you can't achieve it. You have to be able to see it. And it may just be that you need help in terms of doing that. So a phone call would be a good place to start. Call the radio station. Maybe you have some comments or questions. Maybe you're already a client. Okay? How does it feel to be broke? Just think about that for a minute. How does it feel to be broke? There's lots of people listening to this show right now that are probably broke. So how do you feel? How do you feel to have empty pockets, no money in the bank, an overdraft to worry about? How does that feel? Okay? How does it feel if you don't have enough money to retire when you want to? How does that feel? Or how does it feel if you have enough? How does it feel if you have plenty? Doesn't that kind of feel good and cozy and fuzzy? Okay? I mean, that's the two extremes. I got lots of money, so I feel great. I have no money and I feel terrible. Well, imagine yourself in either of those two positions and then try to figure out what's the difference between the person that's broke and the person that is rich. What's the difference between Donald Trump and some of the people that are competing against him? It's money. How come he was so successful? I'll bet you he's got goals. I'll bet you he's got lots of them. And I'll bet you they're all well written down. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about your situation? If you're one of the people out there that doesn't have a financial plan right now, and I'm sure there's many, don't you think it's time you got one? Well, I don't have one because it's probably too expensive. Well, I'm offering one, won't cost you a nickel. You call Frida. You want to get a financial plan, make a phone call. Call Frida. That's all you have to do. 604-737-3512 is the key to getting yourself a written financial plan. Give Frida a call. 604-737-3512. And if you're long distance, it's 1-800-661-1495. If you just tuned in, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner representing Scotia McLeod. And I've dedicated my life to teaching people about financial planning, to teaching people about money, teaching people to get from where they are right now to where they want to go financially. So once again, a proper investment plan will have a well-defined expected rate of return. The risk in that plan will be well-defined. The financial products to make that plan work will be well-defined. There's over 22,000 investment funds in Canada to pick from. What's the difference between 22,000? How do they differentiate one from another? Which is the best one? Which is the worst one? How do you decide that? Is it decided just on rate of return? I can show you investment funds that have returned 40% compounded annually over the last 5 years. But boy, if anything goes wrong, you could lose 40% a year. So there's a balance between risk and reward. And how do you measure that? It's generally called the efficient frontier. So are the investments in your investment portfolio on or off of the efficient frontier? When you measure them using beta, do they score well or not? Do they have high alphas? Do they score well or not? Okay? So give us a call. Let's talk about this and much, much more. That's why we do this show. So once again, do you have a financial plan, and what should it look like? Well, the steps in a financial plan, I want you to just sit back and visualize a 3-ring binder. It's got 10 sections in it. The first section says education. Now, why is education important to your overall financial success? You might say, well, I'm a chartered accountant. I'm well educated. I understand all the principles of financial success. Yeah? Do you? Do you really? What's changed in the last month? What's true this month that wasn't true last month? Education is a lifelong project. Things change as we are talking today. Okay? So whatever education you have, whatever your smarts are, whatever you think you know or don't know, there's still an awful lot to know. So you got to dedicate some time and pay yourself first in that particular area. Someone once said, we don't know what we don't know. And I think that's very true. Okay? So dedicate the first step in your financial plan to how do you keep up to date, maybe? Maybe that's what you call it. Where do you get information? Napoleon Hill in the book Think and Grow Rich refers to the mastermind and Henry Ford. He said Henry Ford had a desk, and on his desk he had 15 buttons. And when people told him he only had 6 years school, how could he be so smart? He said, I don't have to carry useless knowledge in my head. See this button over here? This is the one for my accountant. I push it, my accountants come in, and I ask them all the questions and get all the information I need. See this one over here? It says legal. I push this, my lawyer comes in, ask him all the questions I need. So he's got, and this is like in 1935, long time ago, right? Well, what do we got today for the mastermind? Ladies and gentlemen, we have Google. I have my iPhone sitting in front of me on my desk. I didn't bring my computer today. I just brought my iPhone. My iPhone is more powerful than the computers that put man on the moon. I have Google on my iPhone. I can call up Google and ask any question I want. Better still, I don't even have to call it up. I just push a button and I say, Siri, I have a question for you. What will the weather be like at Point Atkinson? And she will tell me. She does the Google search for me. Okay? Artificial intelligence? Unbelievable. So my iPhone is my mastermind. Besides that, I do have a team of experts as well. So once again, if you just tuned in, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also a registered financial planner. We're talking about your money, more importantly about your money and how to keep it. And remember this, it's only your money as long as you don't spend it. As soon as you spend it, it belongs to somebody else. Okay? And if you can postpone spending, then you want to get a decent rate of return in reward for the postponement of satisfaction. And that's the return that you get on your investments. And if you get a return of 5%, remember the tax man will want almost half the 5. So you're left with slightly better than 2.5. And if inflation is 3, your real return is negative. Now, how can you become financially independent when you're going south instead of north, ladies and gentlemen? I want you to think about that. Okay? So somehow or another, you have to get a return which exceeds inflation and taxes. And those are generally investment funds, investments like stocks and mutual funds and bond funds and things like that. And I would throw some real estate in there too. So what does your plan look like? Step 1 is education. So again, we're back to the 3-ring binder. What do you think step 2 is? Okay. Well, step 2 is a section devoted to goals. So on the first page of the goals section, write down your hopes, your plans, your dreams, and your ambitions. Now, those are fuzzy notions at this point. So on the second page, then turn those into very specific goals. I want a bigger house. I want the house that I want instead of the one I'm prepared to settle for. I'll tell you the house that I want, and I could never begin to afford it. There's one at the entrance to Secret Cove. It looks like it's about 20,000 square feet on an island. And it's got 2 yachts, twin yachts tied up at the back door, which are probably worth $1 million each. Never seen anything like it. Unbelievable. That's the house I really want. But even I can't afford that. Okay. But again, put down in your goals book the things that you really want rather than the things you're prepared to settle for. Why settle for less than what you really want? And the whole process starts with creating a burning desire. A burning desire. Not just desire, a burning desire. You have to be obsessed. Show me somebody who's obsessed about money, and I'll show you somebody who's rarely broke, if ever. So how do you get this desire, this burning desire? You have to visualize yourself already having achieved the things that you want. So if they're not specific, you can't visualize them. So once again, said it again and again and again, over and over and over. Get the book, Think and Grow Rich. Google it. It's a free download. So if you haven't got the book, do me a favor. Download it. Read it. But better still, phone this station. Phone me. And I'll give you a $24 value. That's what it costs. This isn't free. Not to me, anyway. The Think and Grow Rich workbook. It's better than the book. Because it makes you do something other than just read. Fill in the blanks. My number one goal is. So if I said to you, this is a real question. If I said to you right now, what is the most important thing in life that you want to achieve? Rhetorical question. Ask yourself that question. And then, can you answer it? Okay? Think about it. What is the most important thing in life that you want to achieve? I want to go to heaven, but I don't want to die. Doesn't work. You got to die first. That's the price you pay. Everything costs something. So, once again, what is the number one most important thing for you to achieve? A better job? A bigger house? Become wealthy? Once again, social acceptance into the most exclusive club in town? A trust fund for the kids? World travel? What is the most important thing that you want to achieve? And guess what? No matter how important that is, if you don't have a plan, you're not going to get it. You got to create the plan. So, if you couldn't come up with an answer to that, you probably need an appointment. How do you get that appointment? You make a phone call. Once again, you phone Frida, 604-737-3512. Come on in. I will help you do that. So we're only down to the second section. There's 10 of them. So section 2 is about goals. Already we spent a fair amount of time talking about goals because it's important. Very, very important. So section 3, what do you think section 3 is? Section 3 is your budget. Section 3 is cash management. I earn $50,000 a year. I spend $60,000 a year, $10,000 more than I earn. So I increase my line of credit or my credit cards by $10,000 a year. That's how fast I'm going in debt. That's the formula for disaster. Okay, so I want to have a budget, and I want to spend 90% of what I earn, not 110% of what I earn. So I have a list of my income entries line by line. I have a list of my deductions that come off of my source income, and I have a list of my expenditures. How much money do I spend on travel, vacation? How much do I spend on the roof over my head? How much do I spend on groceries? How much do I spend on Christmas presents? How much do I give to the church or charity? And the list is endless. How do I spend my money? Now, this is how I'm spending it. How should I be spending it? That's the second list. And the third list is the day I retire, what will these expenses look like? How will they change 10 years from now when I retire? Well, maybe I won't have a mortgage payment to make anymore and things like that. Okay? So 3 lists. First list is my expenses today. Second list is what should my expenses look like. And the third list is what will they look like when I retire. And the same thing for the income entries, too. So that's section 3 of your financial plan. The numbers are there. It's a numbers crunching experience. That's what it's all about. So once again, this is not expensive. In fact, the only thing it will cost you is the time it takes to do it. The time it takes to make a phone call, the time it takes to make an appointment, the time it takes to come in. And we provide you with free parking at the office. So when you come to see me, there's no hassle when it comes to parking. And it'll take maybe an hour and a half to sit down and help you get your finances in order. So Section 3, income and expenses. Some refer to it as a budget. I hate they almost use the word because it scares some people away. They say, I don't want a budget. I hate budgeting. Well, I got news for you. You better learn to like it, because if you don't do it, you're going to fail. You're guaranteed to fail. You spend your money at random whenever you take a notion to spend something. No wonder your finances get out of control. Maybe the governments of the world should look at the same principles. You got the United States of America right now that's about $18 trillion in debt, and somewhere around $50-60 trillion when you include future unfunded liabilities. And Canada's well over $600 billion. And they say we have a balanced budget this year. Can you believe them? I mean, that's the question, isn't it? You can't spend more than you earn. You've heard me say it before. I'll say it again and again and again. You can't spend more than you earn without getting in trouble. Justin Trudeau says, elect him and he will spend a few $billion on infrastructure by running deficits. Maybe that's not so bad, because the money's not really being spent. It's being changed. It's being converted from cash to assets, like new bridges, new highways. And they do have to be fixed. But if you're borrowing money to buy groceries, that's a no-no. Okay? If you're borrowing money to cover expenses that should be covered by current income, that's a no-no. But if you're borrowing money to invest, it's not quite so bad. And I'm not voting for Trudeau, incidentally. Okay, the number to call is 604-280-0650. Long distance, 877-280-0650. For those who are shy or reluctant to talk on the air, 604-737-3512. Long distance, 800-661-1495. Just tuned in, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also a registered financial planner representing Scotia McLeod, dedicating myself to teaching people what they need to know to make better financial decisions. That's what we're talking about. The show is called It's Your Money and How to Keep It. And remember, like I said earlier, it's only your money as long as you keep it. Once you spend it, it's not your money anymore. It's somebody else's. Okay. So how do you spend your money? How do you want to spend your money? How do you make your money grow? That and much, much more is what we're talking about on this show. And I invite you to share your thoughts, your ideas, and your questions with us by giving us a phone call. Again, you get the Napoleon Hill book, probably the best thing I've ever offered on the air is this workbook. Only costs $24. It's the secret to financial. You know something? Get this book, and it's better than winning the lottery. You win the lottery, you do so by luck. You get this book filled in, you become successful by design. It's your plan. You're proactive. So become proactive when it comes to how to deal with your money by making that phone call. 604-280-0650. Long distance, 1-877-280-0650. I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, and I'm reaching out to you right now. Again, you don't have a financial plan, time to get one? Make that phone call. So Section 3 of the plan involves cash management. Better than the word budget. Ouch. Okay, how do you manage your cash? That's cash flow. Maybe I should call it cash flow. It's a better title. Sounds nicer. Because that's what it is. So do you have a balanced budget? Are you broke on payday? Do you have a surplus, money left over? Do you have a deficit? That's Section 3. So what is Section 4? Well, believe it or not, there is bad debt and good debt. Some people often say to me, I thought it was all bad. Well, there's bad debt and good debt. What's bad debt? Bad debt is debt that the interest is high, like on credit cards, and it's not tax deductible. High interest, not deductible. Assets that were purchased with the debt, the money borrowed, usually depreciate like a car. depreciates fast. Okay? So you're financing depreciating assets with high interest rates that aren't deductible. Not a good plan. Good debt, interest rates are low, like on a line of credit, usually tax deductible, and the items, the underlying assets that were purchased with the debt appreciate in value, like the house you live in, like investments themselves. So the investments grow, the interest rates are low, the interest rates are deductible. It doesn't cost you much. So the Section 4 of your financial plan is about getting rid of all debt, or at least converting bad debt to good debt. How do you make it tax deductible and all that kind of thing? So you need a plan. That's Section 4. So how many people listening to this show right now can remember the whole 4 sections? First section is education. Second section is establishing goals. Third section is cash management. Fourth section is debt reduction, converting bad debt to good debt. Do you have a document like that? If you don't, you should. It's a financial plan. So once again, if you just tuned in, I'm Certified Financial Planner Fred Snyder, Registered Financial Planner representing Scotia McLeod. And again, I'm here to teach you what you need to know to make better financial decisions. 604-280-0650, long distance 877-280-0650. Log on, www.CIL650.com. Treated out at the office at area code 604-737-3512. Long distance 800-661-1495. Got a caller on the line. It's Ernest from Vancouver. Ernest, welcome to the program. Hi, Ernest. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ernest. How are you?
I often listen to you because I find you most educational. You try to give the people the right answer, but they will not listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the most difficult things I found in this country is not that you can't make a go of it, because you don't have to be a Trump. You don't have to be a rich man. But you can be as poor as you can be, yet you can make it on your own if you want to. Never follow the crowd, my friend. Never.
Well, you nailed it when you say that.
What you say?
You should never follow the crowd.
Never.
No.
Be as individualistic as imaginable. Don't do what the other fellow does.
Well, that's probably the best thing to do. So like, what are some people doing in this volatile stock market that we have right now? They're probably selling. They're probably jumping
no.
out.
They just want to make a fast buck.
Yeah.
It takes time.
That's right.
I mean, I'm an old man. I'm in my 90s.
Well, you don't sound like you sound pretty good for 90.
I want to thank you for putting on a show like this, because I can tell you something. I came here, I was a young kid all alone, no parents. You understand? I was all alone, no education.
Wow.
And you know who made me rich? A good wife, and the ability never to follow the crowd. Don't go to beer parlors. Don't eat the junk.
Well, that's I think that's the secret, Ernest, to success. I mean, most people are going to fail. So if you follow the crowd, you're probably one of the ones that's going to fail.
That's right. Just be an individual, and you can be very successful in this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful country that I love. That I wasn't born here, but I love it.
You know, Napoleon Hill, in his book Think and Grow Rich, says that anything you can vividly imagine, ardently desire,
absolutely,
believe you can achieve,
if you look in the mirror,
and enthusiastically act upon will inevitably come to pass.
I want to thank you for putting on a wonderful show.
Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the compliment, Ernest. Thank you very much, and we'll see you get a copy of that workbook. You probably don't need it, but share it with your next-door neighbor or one of your relatives.
I wish you well, and I wish people would just look at their own individual, never follow the crowd.
So that's your advice is...
That is correct.
Your advice is don't follow the crowd. And I agree with you. I fully agree with you.
Thank you.
Ernest, thanks for your call. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Take care. Bye-bye. I think that was awfully good advice. You know, again, you've heard these statistics before. If you take 100 people who started equal today at the age of 25, by the time they end up at 65, this is what happens. 125-year-old people, by the time they're 65, one is wealthy. One. 4 are well-to-do. 5 are still working. 36 don't have to worry anymore. They're dead. Problems are all over. The remaining 54 are dead broke, dependent on family and state. So if you analyze those statistics, there's only 5% achieve any measure of financial success. 5. And if you look at the same numbers by the time they're 70, only 2.5 are still financially successful because they forgot to deal with taxes and inflation. So the chances of success aren't great. So as Ernest said, the don't follow the crowd, because that's what happens to the crowd. They're either dead or dependent on family and state, most of them. Sad statistics. And I've learned over the years and the time that I've been in this business, and been in this business longer than I'd like to admit, but I've met all kinds of people in all stations of life. And again, the numbers bear out. The numbers are true. I see it every day. People come in and I say, one of the first questions I ask, tell me about your goals. And they look at me and they say, "Duh." And their eyes are glassy. They haven't got any idea what I'm talking about. Well, maybe you want to retire early. That could be a goal. But what does early mean? I want to retire at 55 is more specific. Or 50. I asked my brother-in-law once, he called me, he said, "I want to do better financially. Will you do a financial plan for me?" And I said, "Sure." I said, "When do you want to retire?" I said, "How old are you?" He said, 45. I said, "When do you want to retire?" He said, "At age 46. Next year." "How much income do you want?" $100,000 a year. "How much do you make now?" $20,000. I mean, he must think that I walk on water or something, because there's no way you can do a financial plan that works for him. That's totally unrealistic. But if he had said, "I want to retire in 15 years when I'm 60, and I want an income of $30,000 a year," I might have been able to generate a viable plan for him, a plan that would work. Okay? Because the way he's going right now, if he wants to become financially independent, he better pray that he inherits the money, wins the lottery, or decide to rob banks or something like that. The money's not going to be there. We have to go to the break, and we do have a caller on the line. So, Lillian, if you'll be patient, we'll take your call as soon as we come back. Don't go away. So you got to start thinking about how you're spending your money.
Fred Snyder.
If you can reduce the amount of tax you pay, that means that you get a tax refund. So you get a tax refund means you've really overpaid your taxes. And if you overpay your taxes, what you've really done is loan money to the government. So rule number 1 of my 46 ways to ease the tax bite is don't lend your money to the government.
Fred Snyder.
So pay your taxes. We're not talking about not paying your taxes. We're talking about legal ways to reduce the taxes you pay, not avoid them, to reduce the taxes you pay so that you can have more money to save and invest so that you can achieve your financial goals sooner. And if you're already there, stay there longer, because once you get there, it's your obligation to stay there.
Fred Snyder.
If you have a financial plan and you're somewhere in the middle and you're wondering what tweaks that you should make in that plan to make it what you really want it to be, time to make a phone call. Or if maybe you're just getting started out and you want to get a starter plan, maybe it's time to talk to somebody like myself and get yourself on the right track.
Fred Snyder.
I think that everybody needs to go and make an appointment to see Fred.
Talk to Fred. Listen to Fred. Fred Snyder. Sunday mornings 9 to 11 on CIL 650. This is CISL Vancouver. Smooth and easy. CIL650. This is It's Your Money on CL 650. Here once again is Fred Snyder.
Okay, we're back. We're live, interactive. Remind you once again, we take your calls. We want to share this show with you, our listeners. And we're giving away the Napoleon Hill fabulous workbook, one where you fill in the squares and all that kind of thing. A $24 value based on the book Think and Grow Rich, and you can get the book itself. It's a free download by way of Google on the internet. Let's talk to Lillian from Vancouver. Lillian, welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Lillian. How you doing?
Not too bad this morning. I listen to your program every Sunday, and I find it very useful, even though I'm supposed to be retired. So I'm in that percentage that that is definitely not the 5%. It's funny because I did make a plan, and I did have an accountant, and I did have some investments, but I never really followed it. I just left it up to the accountant to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, close to 50s, I guess, or in my 50s, medical emergency, I guess, with my daughter. And wow, nothing covered. So here we go, dipping into whatever is available and having to leave Vancouver to another, out of province, etc., for treatments. And then slowly dwindling away and relying on Royal Line of Credit, then working hard again, doing some teaching and rebuilding it back so, I could be out of debt.
Mm-hmm.
And then to move back to Vancouver about 5 years ago, and all the layoffs with the teachers, and just enough money carried over to save me for 6 months. And then here we go again, back into debt. Being older, because now you're in your around 60s. So, yeah, I guess the emphasis is to plan, but to over-plan. Really to over-plan as far as my life goes, because I was one of those people that had some of the money, was making pretty good money. And, something like this, a medical crisis, and you're wiped out. You just don't know what's going to happen later in life. So now I'm back to being, well, not totally dependent on the government because I'm still working, but, I'm back to square one as if I was in my 20s building again.
Well,
so it would be nice, it would be nice to make an appointment with you if you have some suggestions for an older person who's
Well, I do.
Working.
I have lots of clients that are at or near retirement. Many that are already retired, and some that are close. But when I talk on the show, I talk about 3 P's. I talk about the need for a plan, I talk about the need for planning, and then I talk about the need for the right products.
Yeah.
Now, what I just heard is that you had the plan, but you didn't do the planning. You put the plan on the shelf, right?
Yeah, I left it up to the accountant. That's what I did. He's going to take care of what to invest and blah, blah, blah. And then, what was it, that in 10 years ago or something when we had that crisis? Oh, God, okay, so I lost money there, too, which I didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, whatever. I mean, I'm working now and trying to, as far as you say about spending and budget, well, you know what? Everything for me is basic. I haven't been on a holiday for like 20 years. I don't spend money on hairdressers or foods or restaurants. My budget is what I can pay for, sort of thing.
Lillian, how old are you?
68.
Well, you're not too old.
No.
It's not too late. So I would strongly suggest you do 3 things.
Yes.
You download the book Think and Grow Rich if you haven't already. You make an appointment to see me, and you get the book from Frida, the Think and Grow Rich workbook.
Yes.
And you start from scratch. It's called zero-based budgeting. You pretend you don't have anything. Just start right from scratch and make a plan for the rest of your life. Now, if you're healthy, your life expectancy is at least 90.
Exactly.
So you got lots of time.
20 years. 20 years or so.
Yeah. So, it's what you do. You can't do much except learn from what you've already done. You can't do much about the water that's under the bridge, but let's deal with the water that's yet to go under the bridge.
Yes,
Let's not
exactly.
waste that time.
Yeah,
So a
So I
phone call
get
to Frida would be a good idea.
I will do that and make an appointment. So where are you located in Vancouver?
We're located on the corner of Granville and Broadway, right over Chapters, 8th floor.
Okay. Yeah, I know that. Okay.
And there's parking in the basement. It's slot 89. That's paid for, and that's for clients.
Okay.
So if you phone Frida, make arrangements to come in and see me, I'd be very happy to spend some time with you. No cost or
Right.
obligation whatsoever.
That's wonderful. That sounds good. And again, for anybody who is listening, over budget, over prepare.
Overdo it all. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Okay, enjoy the rest of the weekend, Lillian. You take
too.
care.
Thank you.
And thanks for
Bye-bye.
your call. Bye-bye. Okay, I got an email here from a client, and basically the client says, your Sunday morning broadcasts, I find them very interesting. Several weeks ago, you brought in Think and Grow Rich, and my ears perked up right away. I suspect the title scares off many. Just a gut instinct. The line most remembered is on page 60, my copy, chapter 3, Self-Confidence Formula. I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, and this is the kicker, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. And I couldn't agree more. Zig Ziglar used to say, you can have anything in this life you want as long as you help enough other people get what they want first. Says almost the same thing. Did you not also expound on the positive think subject? Again, click enter stage left, Joel Osteen and his mantra. Great stuff. And on Sunday, no less. Good on you, Fred. Anyway, I'd like to expand on that just a little bit, because first off, Napoleon Hill was picked or chosen by Andrew Carnegie, the main steel guy in the United States right after the Great Depression, to put together in a book the principles of success of the 500 most wealthy people in the United States. So if you could get advice on how to succeed financially from the 500 wealthiest people in the United States after the Great Depression, that would be a collection worth millions and millions of dollars. So he gave him a letter of introduction to all these people. And I'm including presidents, I'm including Henry Ford, I'm including Thomas Edison, Jefferson, the whole bunch. And all the success principles of these people were put in one book that you can get today for free. It's a free download. And you can get the workbook to put it all into action by making a phone call. That's all you have to do. God, it seems to me that is so easy, it's unbelievable. Maybe that's the problem, because one statement that's made in the book is if it's free, you probably don't want it. Maybe you have to pay for it to want it. But you do pay for these things inevitably because it costs you time, if not money. Let's talk to Maurice from Vancouver Island. Maurice, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Hi, Maurice. You're on the air.
Thank you. I better get away from the radio here. I had a question about capital gain.
Yes.
I have a triplex that I've had for some years, and I want to. The rental business is not the best these days, and I'm old. I wanted to sell it off and put the money to use through my kids. And I figured out it would be the capital gain portion, and recapture it cost me about $37,000.
Ouch.
And I'm just wondering if there's any ways you can mitigate that.
Well, there are ways. They may not be suitable for you. One thing that some people do to offset capital gains issues is called flow-through shares. You can buy a flow-through share where you get big tax deductions, which will offset capital gains. But generally, with these flow-through shares, there's a lock-in period of 2 or 3 years. and they can be risky. So you need to sit down with somebody like myself and assess how much risk makes sense in your case and whether you can tolerate it or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line. There's no way to get rid of the capital gain except some kind of an offset, some type of a counter deduction. So if you like an RRSP, you got RRSP room, you might be able to use an RRSP. I've seen people with $100,000 in unused RRSP accumulations and so on. That might work in some cases, but there's a lot of information I would need to analyze to be able to make a suggestion to you that this might be the process to use to fix that. And again, that would involve an appointment with myself to spend that time, and there'd be no cost or obligation. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. Do you still come over the island anymore?
Oh yeah. I do it on a fairly regular basis. I don't know when I'm next scheduled for over there, but call Frida. She can tell you.
Okay, I'll do that.
So if you give Frida a call, you can reach Frida right now, 604-737-3512.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Morris, you take care. Appreciate the call. Let's talk to Sandy from Maple Ridge. Sandy, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Good. I just have a bit of a cold, but I'm okay.
Me too. That's why I'm going to skip the second half of this show. I've got a raspy throat, if you can hear it right now. I'm going to go home and have a bottle of scotch or something. Maybe that'll knock it out.
Good idea. I'm phoning because I've got my own place that I own, and I have a small investment tied up with an insurance company.
Yes.
But it's not doing anything, and I'm scared to take it out because I don't know why I'm afraid, but I am. And I wanted to get it into something else. Maybe it's registered as an RSP.
So this is a product. This is an insurance product that you have.
I believe yes.
Is it a mutual fund or is it what is it? Is it a guaranteed product? Is it part of a life insurance policy?
It's an RSP fund, but the time limit is over. I can take it out with no penalty.
Okay. How much money is involved? Can you tell me?
Well, probably about $20,000.
Okay. What rate of return is it earning?
Well, probably nothing. It's not been doing good for the last 10 years.
Oh, gosh, that's awful. You could have, in the right investment, you probably could have doubled it in the last 10 years.
I know.
Okay. Well, you need to call Frida, make an appointment, come on in. Let me take a look at that situation. I remind you once again, there's no cost or obligation, and there's no reason to be fearful. None. Won't make you do anything that you don't want to do, and it certainly won't suggest something that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
You got to fix that because you should be afraid to stay where you are if you're not making any money.
Well, that's how I know that, but I just don't know how to make the move, and I haven't been able to because I'm just scared to, I guess.
A phone call to Frida is a good place to start.
Excellent.
So you give Frida a call at area code 604-737-3512.
Will do.
Okay, and Sandy, you enjoy the rest of the weekend. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate your call.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
too. Sandy's line is now open, so if you just joined us, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also a registered financial planner representing Scotia McLeod. We're talking about your money and how to keep it. Ask yourself this question: how long have I worked? How much money have I made so far in my life? And how much of what I've made do I have left today? And am I happy with the answers? And the chances are you're not. I told you earlier that most people fail financially. Only 5% of people who are 25 years of age today, by the time they end up at 65, only 5%, 5 out of 100, will achieve any measure of financial success. And about half of that 5 will be failures by age 70 because they didn't deal with taxes and inflation. So again, they all made enough money to become financially successful. They didn't keep enough money. to become financially successful. And why is it that we don't keep money? Because they didn't teach us in school how to keep it. They didn't teach us in school. So any school teachers, any people that are tied into the educational system in the province of British Columbia or elsewhere for that matter, need to listen up. We need to start teaching students not reading, writing, and arithmetic only, languages only, geometry and algebra and all that kind of stuff. We got to start teaching them about money and how to keep it. Money makes a good topic. Reading, writing, arithmetic, and money. Okay? Money school. Remember that financial plan we started talking about? We haven't got through it, the whole thing yet. What's the first section? Education. Number one priority. So I'm going to learn how to keep money. Maybe one page just has one four-letter word on there, keep, with a felt pen. And maybe a dollar sign after it. Keep money. Okay? So section 5, that's halfway through the 10 sections. Section 5 is about retirement planning. What does my retirement plan look like? Maybe the first line says, I don't want to retire. I'm going to work for as long as I live because I like it. I get paid well for what I do. That's okay, if that's your choice. But if you want to retire and can't, that's sad. So what does my retirement plan look like? Well, the retirement plan that you have says, this is what my income will be when I retire. I won't have any employment income because I won't be working. That'll be zero after employment income. Business income, I might have a small business that I've transitioned to my kids and they pay me some kind of a stipend for whatever they do for my business, or a dividend, or whatever you might call it. So I get some business income. Maybe I got a portfolio of real estate, so I get some rental income. That will go on. I don't have to work for it. Just got to go knock on the door and collect the rent. Okay? Old age pension, I'll be 65, so that kicks in. Everybody gets that. That's $500 and some a month. Guaranteed income supplement, I won't get that because I make too much money already. Canada Pension Plan, I'm going to wait till I'm 65 to collect that. So I get the maximum. If your income is substantial, that'll be $1,000 a month. So I start listing all my sources of income, and maybe I come up with income of $50,000. Now I list my expenses. Remember I said earlier, what are your expenses going to be the day you retire? I know what that number is already. It was already calculated back in the Section 3 of the plan. So in Section 3 of the plan, it said that my required expenditures are $30,000 a year. So I got 50 coming in. I got 30 going out. I got a surplus of $20,000 a year, so I can save some money and pay my taxes out of that $20,000 that's left over. And I don't have to go in debt. I won't have to make payments on my insurance policies because I bought life insurance which was paid up at 65. But I had a fellow in my office the other day who is 66 years of age. He's in retirement, and he pays $36,000 a year in insurance premiums, and he has to pay that out of his pension money. That wasn't a good plan. That should have been figured out ahead of time. He should have bought term insurance to 100, paid up at age 65, so he didn't have to make any payments beyond age 65. So this is kind of how everything fits together in a proper financial plan. So retirement planning it defines all sources of income, and it defines your retirement expenses. For example, in retirement, you might decide to defer your property taxes. Some people pay $4,000 or $5,000 a year in property taxes. You don't have to pay them. You can defer them. That money will pay for your annual cruise, your annual vacation on your deferred property taxes. And the kids are about to inherit your money. I don't think they'll complain about that. Okay? So you need to evaluate all these things, and you need a financial coach, somebody like myself, to help you, guide you, help you make the decisions that you have to make. What are the trade-offs? Should I defer my property taxes or not? What's the pros and cons? These are all things and much, much more that you have to start taking a hard, long look at. And that's why you need a financial plan. A financial plan is the hub. It's the glue. It's the string that ties all the pearls together. Okay? And if you lack a financial plan, you're crazy, because you can get one for nothing. Doesn't cost a dime. So maybe it's time to get yourself a financial plan. Make a phone call, 604-280-0650. Long distance, 1-877-280-0650. Free to down at the office if you're shy or reluctant to talk on the air. 604-737-3512. If you're calling long distance, such as Vancouver Island, 1-800-661-1495. Just tuned in. I'm certified financial planner, also a registered financial planner representing Scotia McLeod. And really, my mission, my raison d'etre, is to teach people what they need to know to make better financial decisions. Because the financial decisions you make will decide whether you're successful financially or not. So if you sold out your portfolio of investments last week during the volatile ups and downs of the market, you were crazy. You shouldn't have done that. It's the worst thing you could possibly do. And that's another reason why people fail financially. They let their emotions make their financial decisions. The emotions which drive the market are fear, hope, and greed. Okay? When the market's going up, it's driven by greed. I better get some before it's more expensive. It's going up. Okay? Then it drops a little bit, and hope kicks in. You say, gee, I hope it doesn't go down lower, and it does. And then fear kicks in, and you sell out. So you bought high, you sold low. You got to do just the opposite of that. You got to have the courage and guts to buy low and sell high. Not too many people can do that. I listened to an expert. I wish I could remember his name because he was really great on CNN the other day. And he said the worst thing you can do is jump off the roller coaster when it's in motion. Okay? And he said people right now shouldn't sell. It's the worst thing they can do. It's time to buy. And that is really good advice. Toronto Stock Exchange, oil is starting to do a little better. It was up a bit, but not on Friday. So maybe we start to see some positive moves on the oil situation, but oil is a tricky situation right now. I'm not optimistic personally about oil. I don't see oil making a comeback for a long time yet. So once again, if you just tuned in, I'm certified financial planner Fred Snyder, also registered financial planner. Next week, we'll continue with the other 6 parts of the financial plan. Maybe I'll get into just one more, number 6. Number 6 is what do you do with the money that's left over after you've provided for your retirement? You've done everything right up to that point. So number 6 is where does the excess money go? Let's suppose you put $15,000 into your RSP and you get a tax refund of $7,000. What do you do with it? Well, you put that into your TFSA. Step 6 is your capital creation program. So how do I create capital outside of my RSP? Most people I talk to have most of their money tied up in their pension plan, their house, and their RSP, and nothing outside. So you got to get some money outside, and the place to start there is your TFSA. We have to go. Same time, same station next week. Bye for now.
If you'd like Fred to review your portfolio, call his office right now at 604-737-3512. That's 604-737-3512.